Tom Slater from Spiked Online. Now, I don't think, Tom, either you or me are going to ever get a job at the BBC. I thought this for quite a long time. But BBC staff have now been told...
I mean, I agree with you, Julia. Yeah, you're probably not, but why, right? So not to hire those dismissive of diversity. So even if, like, you know, a new person comes in, right, and says, okay, we're going to close down all DEI, the entire everybody working there is infested with these morons. How? By doing things like this.
Not to hire people who are dismissive, outrageous, of diversity and inclusion policies. So I think that is me ruled out of a job reading the BBC 6 o'clock news. Joining me to discuss this is campaign director at Defund the BBC, Rebecca Ryan. Good morning to you.
Rebecca, more power to you. Defund the BBC. They are not fit for purpose. I 100% agree with you.
Morning, Julia.
I love these stories. I mean, this is what's so funny is the BBC is obsessed with diversity of everything except thought. Not keen on diversity of thought at all. We knew that over Brexit. We know that over, general politics in this country. But they are being told in a recruitment policy document, disclosed in the Telegraph today, applicants should be asked to explain what diversity and inclusion means to you.
It means to me you're full of shit and you're a racist, right? Diversity, inclusivity is inherently sexist and racist, right? I think homophobic too, right? It treats minorities as if they're incapable of doing anything. Oh, poor little dinosaur. Oh no, because there's less of you in England. That means you're less capable. Oh, and I can't stand this constant thing. Well, we need to have TV reflect the society. It doesn't reflect the society, right? There isn't 80% gay lesbians with penises running everything.
And should you be successful, what opportunities do you see for you to promote, celebrate and encourage diversity and inclusion in your role? And they are told in the guidelines, don't hire candidates who are unsuited to the organisation.
Exactly. You make the organisation. So first thing to do, fire most of the organisation, right? Get rid of most of them.
If they're dismissive or derisory of diversity.
Actually, you know what? That's not really needed, right? That's not really needed. What we need is some, like, royal edict. Okay, I'm not talking about Prince Charles, King Charles, right? I'm talking about, like, Messiah comes, right? And so you get an extra layer of government on top of everything else, a messianic level of government. And he makes a messianic royal decree, right? That, you pick the ringleaders, like a handful of them, right? Or civil service. Oh, yes. Let's civil service politicians. And here's what you do. Or maybe to George Soros, right? And Bill Gates. And you just freeze all their funds. By royal decree, I freeze all their funds, right? And they don't have a penny left of them. You give them a bungalow to live in and, like, minimum wage to live off. And that's it, baby. And then you take the money that they've screwed out of, like, the common person and plow it back into society, right? But here's the thing. You get some of these civil servants that stop Brexit or the Brexit in name only, whatever, and then you take all their money away, right? Take all their money, all their property away, publicly flog them. And you know what? All the other cunts will fall in line really damn quick. That's exactly, like, this whole, like, oh, how do we deal with these refugees? Blow up one of the boats, right? Blow up one of those dinghies full of military-aged men. Now, I'm not suggesting to do that. Thankfully, I don't have the about it. But, like, actually, my solution is this. Round up a bunch of, like, end all benefits. There is no benefit whatsoever to non-citizens, right? And then you have to work that one out a little bit because you could have, like, mass death on your hands, but you get, like, a second-class citizenship thing where you're able to get, like, emergency medical care if you need it. But essentially, make it take away the phones, take away the hotels. And then say, oh, look, we've got a DC-10 here. You can get on that, and it'll take you to your new home. It'll be nice and warm, right? Take them, and I say drop them off in Somalia, in Iran. I don't know. Actually, no, Somalia. They can't do anything about it. Or in Houthi, Yemen, right, with the Houthis. Just drop them off there. Catch you later, guys, and fly off, right? And you know what? They'll stop coming, right? They'll stop coming. Anyway, woke workers.
Diversity and inclusion and surrounding topics. So basically, you have to play along with the nonsense or you won't get a job. Just not being sexist, not being homophobic, not being transphobic, not being racist. That's not...
No, none of that's good enough. None of that is... Have you not learned? None of that is in any way good enough, right? No. You got to tear down white masculinity, like white... what's it called again? The patriarchy, the white male patriarchy.
Not good enough. You have to say all the right words or you can't be hired.
No, you've got to think the right thoughts. But I'm telling you, you take an example of a bunch of them, and like a few, the rest of these little coward cunts will fall right in line.
Absolutely. This is just a test to see how, how well these people have bought into the orthodoxy, isn't it? The potential employees there. And this is what we've seen is completely wrong with the BBC at a time when you've got people who are giving up their TV license in their droves because they don't want to pay for it. The BBC are heading, not only are they not trying to resolve this problem, they're actually doubling down on...
Well, you see, people do that until the last penny is gone. Right, until they have not one penny of other people's money to spend, they will just keep double, tripling. And you know why? I worked this out, right? I was leaving a message to, sending a voicemail to Dad. Because people are getting fucked off with that, right? In my comments in the chat. Because because Dan's getting a bit fucked off, right? Dan doesn't like the reactionary hatred of the current all the aspects of current era. Now he liked it more than I did. He found it less objectionable than I did. But look, his point is this, and I'm not sure. Listen, he can come on and explain himself just as well as I can. But I think his point is this: being reactionary is always an emotional thing, right? It's always an emotion, and I think that's where most people are. With shooting up was Doctor Who, right? We were kicked relentlessly in the bloody balls until he showed up, right? And then just so much more gay shit at the same time. We were just kicked relentlessly in the balls. We had Davros, we had Yasmin Finney and Starbeast, we had Mavity, we had the shittest Isaac Newton ever, right? Yeah, and we were all like, oh, Russell's gonna come and save us. Russell will save us. I said it. I believed it, right? And having said that, I still like the last half hour. Maybe I don't know. When did he show up in the church on Ruby Road? Here, 1 second. Let me do a check, right? It's the moment he was running over the over the roof. So I'm not gonna show the clip because BBC will lose their shit, right? They'll copyright. They'll block it like instantly. Oh man, they are very copyright blocking heavy right now. Come on, there we go. Doink. Let's have a look. Where is it? Church on Ruby Road. There we go. Doink. Is it opening up? Oh, got to get rid of sound. So it's 55 minutes long. Fired in about how far am I in? They're on the okay. The last 40 minutes of it, right? The last 40 minutes from when he's running over the roof. Minnie Gibson's hot. Like they sort of put her in a burqa, but she still looks really good. Right. From the last 45 minutes, 35 minutes, I like. The last 35 minutes of the Church on Ruby Road, I found really genuinely enjoyable, right? Genuinely, right? But I think people were just fucked off beyond fucked off with Doctor Who at that time for all the other shit that happened. I don't think people were in any way open to hear. In the same thing, most Israelis are not open to say, "Oh, would you like a ceasefire? Would you like a ceasefire?" No, fuck off. No, we wouldn't like a ceasefire. We would like Hamas to be crushed out of existence, right? We would like to send a message for all time. Don't fuck with us like that again. Right, that would be something we were like. Yeah, so most Israelis are not on board for a ceasefire, right? Because they're not. When we are being reactionary because of all those rapes and murders, much like the fucking Holocaust. Remember that? Yeah, it's a little bit of a touchy subject. That's why accusing us of genocide, accusing us of being Nazis is such a shitty racist thing to do. And also detach from reality as well. But anyway, I digress. The people being that's us being reactionary, right? I think the response to Shuti was generally speaking, a reactionary one, right? And I don't think, and Dan doesn't like reaction. So why are we talking about this? Because, this DEI shit, the gay shit everywhere, it's all reactionary, right? It's all based on a reactionary, emotional knee jerk. And when you do that, you don't really have anything you can like. There's no intellectual reason for it, but there doesn't really need to be one because the heart is the captain of the ship. I've said that a million times, right? The heart will make you see things that make you agree with your heart, right? The heart's the captain of the ship. But you need to double and triple and quadruple and keep going down on things over again. Billy, darling, do you want to double, quadruple, going down? I wouldn't fight with you on that. I wouldn't fight with you. Anyway, but that's what's going on at the BBC. That's what's going on in all these organizations, right? But man, I've been saying it for years. The apocalypse is coming. Please, pass over. Let's get a bit of apocalypse going.
Only wanting to employ people who will buy into their groupthink, which is really, really concerning, but also just goes to show how they are not remotely interested in resolving the issues that
No, they're not. They figured they just shout it more and ignore everything that we will all go, oh, chicks with dicks are totally normal. What was I thinking with all those, thousands of years of science and religion saying, nah. I mean, how often does science and religion agree? Not often. That's one of the times.
they have.
Oh, indeed. And what's worrying about this? I mean, we don't want to hire people, who are racist. Well, okay, I don't want to work with people who are racist or sexist either. However, this isn't about that. This thinking is that if you're white, you need to accept that you're probably racist and you're a bad person, and that black people and Asian people are somehow victims. And
how are Asian people victims? Right? The Asian median income in America, I don't know England, but in America is, I think, 186,000 a year, while the average white income is 171,000 a year, right? It seems to be they're doing pretty well.
If you're a man, then you're toxic, and you have to accept a lot of things which actually vast majority of people don't believe in this country. But if you don't pay lip service to it, you're not going to get a job. And that's...
No, it's not just lip service. You've got to be part of the bloody code.
It's probably the same. I think we're pretty sure in the police service. If you want to get a job, if you want to work as a judge, you have to go through a lot of this training as well. If you want to work in the civil service, police, anything. So
yeah, everything's been taken over. Man, that's the other thing. Publicly flog some of these some people running these colleges. Publicly flog them, or maybe just strip them naked and shame march them through towns for feces and vomit to be thrown upon them.
All of these bodies and all of these people who have a huge amount of power in this country over us individually, over how services are run and funding and the information that people get on their TV screens, are all being required to, in this Orwellian way, to say, I believe this, I salute to the orthodoxy of political correctness. But I imagine someone turning up. I mean, I can imagine a black man, a lesbian woman saying, well, actually, no, I don't accept some of these things.
I mean, look at the chat. Like, half the chat's bloody gay, and they're like, what the fuck is with all this gay shit, right? Like, really? Yeah, that's it. Again, one of the other things I hate DEI, it doesn't treat people like people. It treats people like objects. It treats people like trophies. Oh, look, I've got a trans one at my show. I'm so good.
And I wouldn't think it was my job to actually promote this or that. I would think it would be my job, if you've hired me as a cameraman or whatever, to do the job of being a cameraman and just get on with my job and do it well. But they wouldn't be hired because they wouldn't tick the right groupthink box.
Exactly. And this is the concerning thing, isn't it? Because this diversity agenda is just really patronising and divisive. And if you went in there and said, I don't really buy into diversity. What I buy into is meritocracy and the right person for the right job.
Oh, that's it. They're going to slam your balls in a drawer. They don't. Well, wait a minute. Do you like to fuck children? Oh, yeah. Oh, you're in, mate. BBC. Well, we love fucking children at BBC. Don't tell anyone. It got out a couple of times, but I think we got away with it.
And you're going to have more men wanting to do those kind of jobs because that's more like what men are interested in, and that's okay. Suddenly, what you can't be employed by the BBC because you're too right wing or something. It's really dangerous.
Yeah, too right wing to think chicks with dicks isn't a real thing, isn't a scientific thing.
And as you say, this has eked into all of our institutions, hasn't it? But at the moment, we're being forced to pay for the BBC. And this is what our supporters would demand, is that, we shouldn't be forced to pay for this kind of agenda.
We shouldn't be forced to pay to be told chicks have dicks, right? We shouldn't be forced to pay that. And some of the greatest minds have come in on this, and they've opined.
Oh, there are no chicks with dicks, Johnny. Only guys with tits.
That's very true. That's right. By the way, I do like the TED TV show. I'm only like 3 or 4 episodes in. I quite enjoy it. Man, they put a ton of money into that, but ain't gonna save you, Peacock. You're going down, baby.
It's divisive. And, if you were a black man or, like you say, a lesbian who goes to work, that you don't want to be thought that you've been given the job.
Could you imagine Mega Geek in David Diaz going for an interview? Oh, that would be awesome. Okay, one second. Where's my phone? Fine. I'm leaving him a message right now, okay? That's what we're doing. 1 second. You're going to leave a voicemail on the Twats by your phone. You can't do it on the desktop app for some reason. So the last bit of listen, I was listening to his him on Type 40. Was it a couple of weeks ago, talking about Star Trek? And he's saying he would get Robert De Niro to be the captain. I'm like, no! Firstly, he's bonkers make bonkers. Trump broke him, right? Trump completely broke Robert De Niro. And so I got back to him and said, no, you know who you want? You want a big star as your star of Star Trek. Christian Slater. He loves Star Trek. He was in Star Trek 6, right? He was the helmsman in Star Trek 6 on the Excelsior. Yeah, I think he's the one that... What did Sulu say? Well, fly it apart then. We're going to come and save Captain Kirk. It wasn't the best one, Star Trek. I quite liked it. It was a good ending, right? It was a good ending to that original. Anyway, so let me leave. What was I going to say? Oh yes, Ian, how you doing, mate? I'm actually on a live stream as we speak. You are becoming content. This message is content. So I'm watching this thing from Talk TV saying the BBC staff are told not to hire those dismissive of diversity. And they're talking about, well, what happens if you have a black or gay person come in for an interview with the BBC and he's dismissive? They'll be thrown out. I just think it would be the greatest sketch ever, right? The greatest sketch ever for you, I mean, in character as you, obviously, to being interviewed for a job at the BBC. Oh my God, this thing writes itself. It's brilliant, right? It's brilliant. Listen, I know your hands full of Rebecca Gold season 2. Check out Rebecca Gold season 1 if you haven't seen it. Freaking awesome. Absolutely. Actually, check out the channel in general. He's got a lot of good movies. What's the one I really liked? I liked, what's it called? Bad Day? Hard Day? I can't remember, but it was good, right? He knows how to make a good movie, does how to make a geek. Anyway, sorry, I'm leaving a message. So anyway, I would love to see that skit. I'm not sure how we're ever going to see it happen, but if you want to check this on the playback, I'm leaving this 28 minutes in, so you'll be able to find it in. Okay, very good. Toodle bit. Catch you later. Doink, and we go doink. Aha! There you go. The appliance of science, baby. What was that? Zalusi or the mash get smashed from people? I can't remember. Oh, we got to do the mash get smashed robots with somebody, right? They got to come in at some point into a thumbnail.
That reason, you want to think that you've been given the job because you're the best person for the job, and absolutely. So it just undermines the whole sort of team fabric, doesn't it? And then you just get this sort of blob.
Well, you see, look, here's the thing. They only hire people of the same mindset, right? Of the same mindset. My name's Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.